Hello and welcome to the Effect Podcast live stream of Coriolis Mercy of the Icons, Volume 2, the last Cyclade episode. I have no idea where we are. I think we're on part 4 of Fire of the Icons.
And now we've done the title. Thanks for joining. It's time to go. Bye.
Well, thank you to Will for being in the audience. I think you might be the only one we've got now. There's another person, but that's Dave. And you can't watch and play, Dave. You have to choose. Every week, I say you have to choose. Either play or watch.
I kind of, I can multitask,
Okay, Tony, can we turn to you for your encyclopedic knowledge of what we all did last week?
What did we do last week? Well, after we arrived in the village of whatever it's called, that I forgot the name of already.
Chalky?
Catchy. C-A-C-H-I.
We went to try and find the kind of head scientist, Basira Al-Saraf, because we were told by the bloke who drove the boat that brought us here that she was the person we should go and see.
We're very trusting.
To set ourselves as traders, so we did do that. She wasn't available. Some guards. We went onto the ship that forms the centerpiece of the village, and the guards directed us towards her husband, Ilam Wasima. Going through the ship, we saw that there was quite a lot of sciencey stuff going on, a lot of hydroponics, and then tanks with fish and lizards and stuff. So we met Ilam Wasima. He was very friendly to us. He recommended somewhere for us to stay and invited us back for breakfast with himself and his wife for the next day. So then we left. As we were leaving, there was an announcement made about a criminal called Arib Subada who'd been found guilty of some sort of bad crime, murder, robbery, and was being banished, and was handed over to the guy in charge of security in the village, Toran Matouche, who also happens to be the trade administrator of the village. So we went to meet him, kind of on the pretense that Oshian Isparta wanted to go and kind of administer the Lady of Tears rights to the condemned man. But we went and had a chat with Toran Matouche, and it turned out he's a very kind of savvy person, and we didn't think we were going to be able to fool him or pull the wool over his eyes at all.
And I think it was kind of by the skin of our teeth that we didn't kind of blow our cover there and then.
Yeah, I was not entirely convinced that we didn't. Time will tell. But he's also the trade administrator, so he is also the guy we need to talk to set up our cover as traders in the town. He's also doubles up as the kind of police chief. The Oshian did talk to Arib Subada, the condemned man. His punishment is to be banished from the village, which most people in the village seem to think is a death sentence because he goes across the valley of death, kind of land that was
Clues in the name.
Yes, it's not called the Valley of Tickles, no, is it?
No, but he seemed to actually be reasonable. Maybe he was kind of bluffing a bit, but he did seem to have some confidence that he could actually make it across there alive and wouldn't die. But I guess we shall find that out. I had a message on my tablet which I forgot about. It arrived when we were talking to Ilam Wasima on the ship, but I did forget about it. But now I've remembered about it. The first thing I'm going to do is check it.
Okay,
in a suitably discreet place.
I can't remember if we'd agreed. So we were meeting Ilam Wasima and
for breakfast.
For breakfast the next day. I'm
not
not sure.
Ilam Wasima. Or maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, it was Basira and Ilam, wasn't it? So.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Yes, you're conflating the two names. Yeah, Basira Al-Saraf and her husband Ilam Wasima. Yeah.
So I can't remember if we'd made any arrangements to have any more dealings with Toran Matouche as our trader cover.
We have.
I
haven't we?
think he said he was going to be busy in the morning taking this person out to
A certain death.
to banishment, and that you could maybe come and see him in the afternoon.
Yeah, that sounds
That
plausible.
rings a bell. Yeah.
It does, yes.
Very well. So, on leaving the barracks of the militia, the Home Guard, which is where Toran Matush's office is, and where the murderer is currently imprisoned, are you gonna go back to your lodgings or go to your lodgings for the first time? Or are you going to find I'm sure you can find some sort of cantina here to sit and to peruse your note.
We should probably go and check our lodgings, check in, shouldn't we? Sure.
Yes,
Okay.
I've had many experience with getting to the hotel too late and then having given my room to somebody else. So
Happened to me once in Manchester. Not
Well,
happy.
I got stuck on the M6 once on my way up to Warrington, I think it was, and kept ringing them saying, "I am coming, don't give my room away." And I got there about 2:30 in the morning and to a room, which is good.
I was at a conference, where we'd booked a whole bunch of rooms, and I turned up at only 11 o'clock one night, and they're bloody giving my room away, the bastards. At 11 o'clock. Anyway.
Moving on from the trials and tribulations of hotel nightmares.
Do I want to show you the map again? I think I probably do, to remind everybody where. Oh, but I will need to call the map up, actually. Give me a bit of a moment. Actually, I might call about that one. Yeah, let's call all those maps up, shall we?
Yeah, let's just have every map. Go on, throw them all up at the same time.
And open those. So just to give yourself a bit of a lay of the land, from the barracks here, actually, it's quite a shortcut, I think.
Can't see the map at the moment.
We can't see the map yet, Matthew.
No, I haven't called them. I haven't shared it yet.
Okay. That'll be
I
one
don't know
then.
quite what's happened to it. In fact, to be honest, what's going on here? Open.
The usual
Yeah, there they go.
production
Right.
values from Effect.
Now, let's just find the window here. There we go. And I'll make this. Oh, come on. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Cool. I will make it full screen and we are on. So I think we said that this.
Yeah.
Can you see my cursor here?
Yes.
Yeah.
This was Widow Shari. What's her name? Widow
Shahidi. Is what I wrote down.
Shahili's house there. And
20.
you have been over here. So I think the quickest way actually is to go around here, cross over these floodgates along this path here and up the slope. These are quite steep, these things here. So even though this is sort of in the lowlands, it'll still be quite a climb up here to her house.
Okay.
Can I just get you? Who's got the best observation score?
I think that's me.
Oshian has. Yeah. I've got
Take a dice. It's not
+6 then.
+2 for an ambush before you ask. In fact, it's -1 in total.
Okay. Using my brand new Effect dice. Let's see,
Okay.
see if they're any
This
good.
is an exclusive offer for our top
level
level
patrons.
Yeah.
And these dice are shit. I got no successes.
Right.
Is it worth pushing, Tone, do you think?
I'll just warn you that you've got. Oh, how many have we got?
Yeah,
I'll
let's
just have to count
see.
them again. 10, 16.
Okay, no, I'm not going to push.
Okay.
I am going to get my alien dice out in a minute, though. If these don't turn around soon.
So yes, you get to the widow's house, and She welcomes you in. She has basic, but you imagine for her, she's pushing the boat out with a meal of falafels and rice cakes and the sort of the rice wine that you saw being brewed, or you guessed was being brewed down here at the distillery, and puts it all out for you, and a little bit of salad as well.
Okay.
Mint tea, of course. I say, of course. I'm just saying that they drink quite a lot of mint tea here back home.
Do all the people here look kind of healthy and well fed? And
yeah, I mean, they don't look unhealthy. This woman is quite old and relatively frail. She doesn't look more healthy than she should for her age, but neither does she look starved. They've all for the last, I can't remember how long, 10 cycles or so, been living in a more and more prosperous village with decent rice. You're looking down here on rice paddies. Actually, no, not sure where you are. Let me just check what number 4 is. No. So here are kind of trout farms. These things marked number 4. She points them out to you. The rice paddies are over here.
yeah.
Around number 3.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I think not wanting to be rude, we probably ought to have a little bit of supper.
Yes. We should accept courteously and graciously.
I'm gonna sort of surreptitiously observe the old lady. Is there anything about her that seems suspicious in her manner or in what she's doing?
Should I make you make a roll for that, or should I just be perfectly honest and say no?
Okay, I won't bother rolling then.
She seems to be fawning over you a little bit. They don't get all that many guests here. She's obviously sent guests as sort of her only form of income, really, apart from, she may be doing a bit of collecting sunfire or stuff like that from the shoreline. But she's quite old. And
well, you can always ask her, Tone. So,
what do you want to ask her?
Nothing at all.
Tony was wondering inside his own sick little head whether this woman supplemented her income by prostitution.
Well, you could ask her.
No,
that's what I said.
I am not going to ask her that.
No, neither am I. Right. I guess we want to find somewhere secluded to have a look at this message before we go too far.
We've got.
Well, her house is quite small. You have your own private room. At the moment, I imagine you are eating. Just lost.
It's all right. I'm still here. Don't worry. Carry on.
You're just taking your shirt off now. You've got all hot and bothered from the message of prostitution,
like that,
haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Carrying on then. I think it's been quite a nice day. So I think you were set out admiring the view over the village, across the gorge. But yeah, you do have your own private room. But it's a relatively small house. There's not many nooks and crannies here.
But anyway, yeah. So after dinner, then let's retire to our private space, our room, as private as it can be, and check the message on my tabula.
Very well.
I will have a little look around the room to see if I can spot anything that might be surveilling us.
Right. I will ask you then to make I guess, observation roll. Was it infiltration? I'm going to go with infiltration.
That's a pity because that's a couple of dice less, that is. But okay. Right. Take 2 for the effect dice. Fucking hell. That's no. I've rolled what? 12 dice now, not a single success.
That's
So
going well so far then.
it is. I don't think I'm going to push it.
Okay.
No, probably not worth it, I suspect.
Well, this message is textual. It's not an audio message or anything like that, so you can keep it pretty much yourself to yourself. And if you remember, Tony, when you looked at the instructions, there was a time-locked, encrypted thing. And you realise now, looking at it now, that it's unlocked. Not actually time-locked, but location-locked.
Yeah.
So nothing's been transmitted to you via any communications things on this planet here. But it's a data package that surprises you as you read it, Tony, because it's based on you being in this location. And you don't know whether...
It says, look behind you.
So your Astraban masters have said, have noted your location, and it says
What the fuck are you doing there?
We told them we were following a lead, didn't we? So
it's not so. Yeah, given they've written this before they knew where you were, you think it's interesting that when they said they were following a lead, when you told them you were following a lead, they seem to know kind of where that lead, or maybe there's a variety of messages in here for different circumstances. But it says the message has been unlocked because you're here on Ordana, and particularly in the village of Kachi. And
Widow,
it says,
Widow Twanky's house.
Not Widow Twanky's house.
In the back room.
It happened, I think. When did it happen? Well, you were talking with that bloke.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. That's true.
It says the Zenithan hegemony have decided to propose a partnership with the Nazareem.
What?
To try and benefit from that faction's forgotten artifacts, knowledge, and allies. It says there are 3 potential allies within this cell. They are Basira al-Saraf, Farouk Norak, and Ayla Uba. And it believes that they may be persuaded to welcome an interaction with the Zenithan hegemony. It's also believed, it tells you, that the Nazareem sacrifice have vast technological knowledge, information about the butterfly ships, and caches of ancient artifacts. Your mission now that you are here is to initiate negotiations with the targeted individuals and extract those who agree to cooperate and eliminate the rest. Deliver the targets to a contact. It gives you details of a contact on the Altai portal station.
So we've got Bazira. What were the other 2?
Bazira al-Saraf, Farouk Norak, and Ila Uba. Ila Uba is E-A-L-A, Uba, U-B-A-H. And Farouk is Farouk, F-A-R-O-U-K. Norak is N-O with a little hat on it, R-A-H-K.
So these are all names that were in the data that were given to us by the...
I'm just checking.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. Okay, then. So, as per our normal pattern, we now just forget what we were doing before. We follow this order.
Well, I'm not entirely sure what you were doing before, actually. You were told not to interfere with anything.
We were investigating. Yeah.
Just investigating, yeah.
So our orders now are to contact the ones they think might be amenable to cooperation with the hegemony, but eliminate those who are not. Was that what it said?
Yes.
It did say, extract those who agree to cooperate, eliminate the rest. And deliver those who agree to cooperate to a contact, of which it gives you some details on
The
Altai
Altai
portal
station.
Sorry, Altai portal station.
Okay, first things first. It seems unlikely that the Nazareem sacrifice are going to be that chummy. I'd suspect.
Unless they think it's kind of in their interests too. They think they can gain from that in some way.
And do we want the Nazareem sacrifice and the Astaban gaining in some way?
Well, I think we don't, probably, do we?
It seems unlikely to be in the interests of the health of the Third Horizon as a whole.
But do we use this as a pretext to get the Nazareem sacrifice members to kind of out themselves as Nazareem sacrifice and then eliminate them? Although not that we're particularly top assassins. Perhaps let's go hire some assassins and come back.
That worked so well last time.
Yeah.
But then, we seem to be given the choice here of throwing our lot in with the Zelosians, which doesn't feel great.
No.
Or throwing ourselves in with the Nazareem sacrifice and the Astaban, which doesn't sound great.
No. None of them seem particularly good options, although I think probably the Zelosians' objectives are most close to ours, aren't they? Because we're generally concerned about the First Horizon invading the Third Horizon, and the Zelosians only seem to be the only ones really aware of it and concerned about it.
And if anything, the hegemony is possibly content to conspire with them to make it happen, unless they are just playing them so they can get hold of their technology and then get rid of them, holding a tiger by the tail, as it were.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I think what I want to do is find out more about what the sacrifice's plans are. And possibly the best way to do that would be to get them in our confidence.
Yeah, to play along with this for now.
And then torture them when we get them on board Najara.
Yeah, we could train up Hammy as a torturer. Top interrogator.
What do capybara eat? All we have to do is smear their extremities in something that capybaras want to eat, and let capybara eat it.
So yes, tell us what to know, or we'll let Hammy go.
I think capybara like fruit.
We'll smear you in this peaches and let Hammy loose on you. That'll teach you.
Yeah, you're not the best torturers, are you?
No, not if that's our approach.
Which is fine, I have to say. I've known you for quite a long part of my life, and to know that you're not very imaginative torturers is A win.
The extent of our torture techniques goes to smearing people in mashed peach.
I'm now reminded that it was your wedding anniversary last Friday.
I wonder why I've got mashed peach on my mind.
Anyway,
Moving quickly on.
I'm glad Jenny doesn't watch this. I'm relatively safe.
so does this message imply that the three individuals they mentioned are kind of expecting an approach? Or do they just think that they might be amenable from the intelligence they've got?
Yeah, no, I don't think that. The message doesn't seem to imply that they've had any sort of previous contact. You would be making the approach.
Well, that's your department, Tane. You're the one who's got the manipulation.
Well, we're going for breakfast with Bazira tomorrow, aren't we?
We
Although,
are.
obviously,
You're going to breakfast with Basira and her husband.
Yeah.
Wasima, who is not mentioned in the...
No. But, you know, it's just bringing up the fact that we know their Nazareem sacrifice is a bit of a likely to cause a reaction, which might not be a hug.
No, a reaction that might get us instantly executed or banished across the Valley of Death.
That's all right. We just come back and kill them then.
Well, unless, we don't make it across the Valley of Death and, in fact, die in the aforementioned valley.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure whether there's stats for crossing the Valley of Death, but there probably are. I'm sure I've read it somewhere.
And are we going to immediately spill that we're from the Astaban? And that... yeah, and there are, that might be an alliance that they would find helpful.
I mean, I guess that's the implication of the message is that we'd be fairly open about that. I don't think there's anything that says we should pretend to be something other than representatives of the hegemony.
But presumably we don't want to announce that in front of the husband.
No. So we might just have to kill him first.
Yeah. As I'm wiping his blood off my knives, you can then say, good, now he's out of the way.
Yeah, that's...
Now we can have a proper conversation. Yeah. I wonder how much she loves him. Whether she puts the cause first. So I'm trying to find the thing where we had all that information.
I will tell you, married to botanist Elam Wasima, with whom he or she has a teenage daughter, Piu, who works in the silk fields. In Wasima, it says married to Bazira, I should say, improves the harvest through biosculpting and agri-chemistry. He is also the village's senior medico. He's considered somewhat harsh and private by the villagers.
So maybe it's worth going to have a chat with one of the others then. So Farouk, he's an inventor apparently, but he suffers from severe alcoholism, has been the subject of many love triangles and much jealousy. And Ila Ubar is a teenage girl, considered marked by the icons. She's the village's shaman, primarily left alone, save for matters of divination or holy medicine. So it might be easy to, even though, we're going to breakfast with Basira, but Elam is going to be there, unless we can arrange in some way for him to bugger off. Or do we go and have a chat with one of these other ones first?
What time of day is it now, Matt? Is it getting on a bit?
It's pretty late now. It was evening when you had your meeting with the policeman. So you've had your supper now. I'm sure, although we talked about you being in the outside looking over the valley, I think it is getting as dark now as it is actually now, if you look out of your window. So,
Well, it's still quite light, to be honest.
so still quite light, yes.
And this doesn't necessarily apply to our watchers, our audience, who are in America at the moment, because it'll be bright sunshine there.
Yeah, no, I was giving you it. I always concentrate on the needs of my players rather than our audience.
You've never concentrated on the needs of us as players, Matthew. Otherwise, you're doing much more generous.
No, that's your wants. I give you what you
needs. Anyway, so I
I
suggest
just want to point out Will's observation here about this message.
Yeah.
Yeah, except we've got no backup nearby, have we?
No.
Although I'm not sure that Uncle Sam does have your back, but and I'm not a selfish lover. I'm generous, Will. Incredibly generous.
Oh God, stop it! Right, let's get some action going here, so we can stop this conversation.
Yeah, I must go and be ill in the corner for a minute.
Yeah. It's like, hang on,
Doesn't quite work unless I full screen you. Right.
So I'm thinking we should do that. See how that goes. We could always. I'm thinking that because Ela is their kind of village shaman, she might be the best one to go and see afterwards. And what I could do is reference the rights I gave, and I feel the need to consult a religious authority to help bring my own iconic spirit or something. Some bullshit like that.
Right.
Yeah, get that manipulation roll ready.
Is that planned this evening or?
No, I think we're waiting for breakfast, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. And where do you find Ela?
Don't know. We'll have to ask somebody, which I'm thinking is why I'll mention it at breakfast. Or Tony, you can mention it at breakfast. Obviously, having had me whinging all night about how my inner iconic spirit is perturbed and needs salvation from somebody who's a spiritual guide.
Very well. Very well.
I will ask that.
So
I think you probably want to discreetly stand watch at night. One of us will be awake at all times.
Right, can I get you both then to make a?
If you agree, Yaqub?
Yes, no, that's very sensible. Definitely.
I'm going to get you both to make. I think in this game, an agility roll for your physical stats.
Agility.
Yeah.
What's this for?
It's just to see how well how good you are at staying awake.
Okay. I'm going to be nodding off at any minute, I think.
Yeah, me too.
Oh no! Tell you what, actually, I will do. I think a better way of doing it in this system is survival.
Okay.
Okay, that's exactly the same as if I just. Oh no, it's not because I got more wits. It's wits, not ability.
Okay, I got 2 successes that time.
I got no successes.
Right. Take 1 point of mind damage and 1 point of hit points, just for general tiredness, having not slept well when you were meant to be sleeping. Tony, you're fine, Dave. Right, it's the morning.
Let's get a breakfast.
Obviously, the widow offers you breakfast. She finds you getting up quite early, and hasn't quite prepared breakfast, but says, "No, stay here, and I will fix some breakfast for you."
Apologies, we've been invited to breakfast with Basira.
And it's very good.
So.
She recommends that you go down to. Well, let me show you on the map. she recommends you walk down here, down to here, where there is a little ferry boat that will take you across the gorge rather than walking all the way back.
Okay. So is there, Widow Shahida, is there a tradition here? Should we take a gift to recognise our thanks and the honour for being invited to breakfast?
Well, she says it's not so much a tradition here, but it's generally good behaviour throughout the horizon, I'm led to believe. I have not travelled off this world myself, but you are going to see the highest ranking person in the village who has asked you to breakfast. I think I wouldn't need to ask whether it would be polite to take a gift.
Not, no.
Yeah. But given you are from Coriolis, I imagine maybe you have more sophisticated tastes.
More relaxed attitudes to this kind of thing.
Yeah. Cosmopolitan.
Okay.
Zenithian.
What? Okay. Can we pick up a little gift along the way then from a stall or something?
We'll bring something from off planet, shouldn't we? Rather than some tourist crap.
She can have my stick if she likes.
Spider poison? Did you
my bone thing?
Oh yes,
my Zalosian bone that's useless.
Yeah, actually, I think you did have a plan about suggesting that this might be a bargaining tool. So yeah, your Zalosian relic would be.
Assuming that isn't immediately going to put their backs up and go, okay, Zalosian's trouble.
Well, you can second guess yourself for the next
53 minutes.
50 minutes, if you like. And I'll just sit back and watch. And,
we probably want to get some kind of reaction from the notice. So.
Okay, yeah.
Go with it. Go with that as the gift.
All right. I'll give it to you because you can manipulate roll better than me.
Right. So you're walking down to the
yeah, we'll follow
here.
The widow's guidance. Yeah.
Okay. As you come and stand out on the pier, there's people coming to work here at the distillery, but they give you a nod and they're used to people coming down this pier here. And almost as you walk down the pier here, somebody from over on the other side waves at you, gets in a little boat and starts rowing across to meet you.
Okay.
15 berth right across the river.
It's a bargain at that price.
15?
Now I'm trying to turn over a new leaf here. It's only 15 berth.
Let's pay it with.
Yeah. That's why I say a bargain, my good man. Here, have 20. That's a lovely day.
His eyes light up as you pour the money into his hands. More than he's earned in a month. Out of towners. He knew he could push his luck with you out of towners, and it has.
I look at Oshian and go,
definitely paid off.
Who are you? What have you done with Oshian?
What happened when you were having? Oh yeah, actually, I meant to say, Tony. One of the reasons why you didn't sleep is you had a kind of nightmare featuring Noor. Not the Noor here you've got to catch. Yeah. And I'm going to spend some points on that and describe the nightmare to you when I can find the nightmare. Where's that gone? Give me a moment. Right. Well, I can't see the nightmare, but I have read it. So I'm going to spend 2 points, which may be too many. And I will describe the nightmare to you. It was Noor, who you last saw burned to a crisp. And she comes to see you as though one of the meetings you'd had on Coriolis, except for the fact that she's burned to a crisp. And she has a conversation with you. You're meeting, in fact, in the tea house at the Neopthra spaceport where you were fated, where she had asked you to meet her, and you failed to actually meet her, but met a friend of hers. And she's sitting down and talking about tea. There's a band playing. If you look over towards where Dave was watching to see whether anybody else was going to creep up on you, you can see Dave there. She is full of the joys of spring, except she's burned to a crisp. And you cannot get the smell of rotting meat out of your nostrils. And it's the charnel smell. Now, this is not making sense. I mean, obviously, she's burned to a crisp and she's having a conversation with you and smiling and stuff. But actually, with the thing that's bugging you is she's burned to a crisp. She shouldn't smell this bad. There's nothing left to rot. And that is when you woke up, or that is effectively then when you woke up and spent the rest of the night awake.
Nice.
Sounds quite
You look a bit peaky this morning, Yaqub, my old mate.
Yeah, I didn't sleep too well. Had a rather unpleasant dream about Nur. I'll describe it to Oshian.
And what did Noah talk about in the dream?
I'll tell Dave, Tony. It was just the usual, the sort of chit chats that she used to see when you used to meet her. You know, how college was going and stuff like that.
Wasn't a portent of our
no
impending doom.
Well, it might be that still.
Yeah, but she wasn't coming in the dream to warn you not to do something or to do something.
No, apparently not.
Okay. Well, I'll pay the man his 20 bear. This is all an investment, you know, for us traders to get the people here liking us.
Very well. And he rows you across the river here, lands you pretty much the same place where the trading boat landed you. And you can go through the square, which is waking up now, and there's all sorts of people making fake business with each other like they do on a Star Trek episode.
Keeping an eye on my pockets and on Yaqub's pockets.
Yeah. And heading straight up to the where you were told to go, which is
why not?
This part of the spaceship.
Yes.
I believe give me a moment. I believe I can. How do I get to the next picture? Give me a moment. I don't know about this interface. Can we show the sidebar here? Come back here. There we go.
Quick look at that other one. Is that interesting? That middle one?
It's like it looks like a ship or something.
So yeah, it's not much more detailed than the one on the other map here, but yeah, this is the ship. These lines are the exterior of the ship. There are spaces here that once upon a time made sense because they were part of a ship design, but you can tell over the last 10 years they've been modified. This was a sort of council chamber that you last saw being used as a courtroom. You make your way through the corridors as instructed by Ilham when you met him here in his labs, to the living quarters here, where you are greeted by.
Sorry, my wife has just delivered me a beer, and she says that doesn't look like a spaceship on the picture.
I'm reminded that it
They're
was
huffing.
your wedding anniversary on Friday.
Look like a spaceship. If you just turn it like that.
Yeah.
I now have more information than I care to know, Dave, about the size and proportions. Anyway, moving on. You are greeted and somewhat surprised to see Basira Al-Saraf, Ilham Wasima, and Toran Matouche sitting on cushions around the load table, piled high with imported produce and with locally grown produce and pickled fish as well, which seems to be the breakfast delicacy here.
Okay.
I'll present the gift to Basira. So thank you so much for your hospitality. It's much appreciated. To present this artifact that we have collected on our travels around the Third Horizon as a gift to show our appreciation for your hospitality.
Thank you. She looks at it curiously and say, on your travels around the horizon, you say, where is this from?
This is from the what's it called?
Kamaruk.
Kamaruk, the city of foreigners in the Zalos system.
Zalos system, yes.
It looks like a human thigh bone, she says, with a smile. What is this? I can see these glyphs on it. Is this Zalosian writing? She says.
Is this Zalosian writing, Oshian?
I think so.
Yes, yeah, I believe
it's runic.
It was sold to you as Zalosian writing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this like that guy who used to do sign language interpreting for Nelson Mandela, and he was just bullshit. He was just like going, but nobody found him out for about 5 years until somebody who could speak sign language went, hang on, the guy's talking utter shit. Are we demonstrating our utter lack of antiques kind of expertise? And
quite possibly.
Yeah. Well, that's because we're investigators and assassins, after all.
She thanks you graciously and sets it to one side and says, but you are not here to bring gifts. Let me introduce, I think you have met everybody here already, have you not? Apart from myself. Then my companions need no introduction. Turan says, yes, it seems I was not as busy this morning as I expected to be when we spoke yesterday afternoon. And so when I was invited here for breakfast, obviously with the head of this village, who am I to refuse? And it is well, for you have come to discuss trade, is it not?
Indeed, that is the purpose of our visit to your lovely village. Yes, trade. Yes, we are trading. Absolutely, here to do some trade.
Anyone would have thought we didn't plan this at all, wouldn't they?
Turan turns to Basira and says, it seems there are politics happening in the wider horizon, and it may be that these two...
Hang on, I've just knocked my webcam.
Your camera entirely off.
So I'll be back shortly. Okay, I can
Did you knock it behind the desk?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Tone. This is your way of getting out of this thing, leaving me to hold the baby.
I'm still here. I can hear everything.
Yes. Whilst Yaqub is scrabbling on the ground looking for whatever it is he's looking for.
Yes, don't worry, everyone. Just carry on.
We need some of that elevator music from the Blues Brothers.
It's all fine. Everything's fine.
So he says, Yaqub was explaining to me last night that there are shifts in the political sphere in the wider horizon, and there may be opportunities that extend beyond the consortium and the rulers of this place, which I've forgotten what they're called, rather than Ordana.
The
cartels. He doesn't like to say so, but I got out of him that he is working for the Free League.
I think we are representing those who wouldn't wish to remain constrained by the widest regulations and strictures that some factions try to impose on the free trade of goods and services around the horizon, unfairly, in our view.
And by some factions, you mean the consortium?
Well, you're entirely
Yeah,
shrewd and clever enough to understand that the consortium is trying to corner the market in all the important trades and squeeze out those who aren't prepared to knuckle under and pay them their dues and their navigation accord fees and everything.
And which of the products of this little modest village do you think will fetch the best prices in wherever you intend to sell them?
Well, naturally, your silk is of the highest
Silks.
quality.
Yes, that's the. I think the main thing that attracted us here in the first place.
Is it?
But clearly, we are open-minded traders, and not only are we interested in your supply of silk, we are interested in other commodities you feel you may wish to offer the wide horizon. And obviously, in return, we can establish trade routes for goods and services that you might need here that might not be readily available on the planet here, inside.
It is said that our salt here is becoming known off-world as quite a delicacy.
Indeed. We have heard that too.
But there is no market yet off-world for our rice wine. Do you think you could build such? Do you have contacts in that trade? Contacts, not context.
Yeah, I would think.
I think we absolutely, and I'll just stop Yaqub for a moment and give him a knowing look, as if we've got some kind of secret organization that we all mustn't talk about because it's really, really confidential.
Right, I want you to make a manipulation roll because I know how good you are at lying. Given that this look isn't for Tony, but rather is for the theatrics.
Can I give him a dice of help with my reaction as well?
Okay. Oh yes.
That increases my dice pool by 30-something%. Okay, I've got one success there.
Right. I'm not going to oppose it, so it looks like you got away with that.
Because I'm just trying to think here, Toad, how we can try and wheedle in
move
something.
The subject off trade and onto politics.
And so we obviously are just two traders, and we are looking for new markets, and we do and can represent much bigger horizon spanning authorities that might be
yes, Torvald says
that might be interested in bigger.
You both in the embrace of Captain Kassar himself of the Zenithian hegemony.
The things that you do in the spur of the moment that you then regret ever after.
Yes, that wasn't really it was a position that we found ourselves in that
I have heard it. Did he take your hand to shake it and then put you towards him really roughly? Does he lean forward a little bit whenever he stands up? Is that really his own hair?
I didn't try pulling it.
Didn't really look that closely at his hair, I have to be honest.
But I think the point we're trying to make here, and Yaqub will obviously back me up and take over the conversation at the point we need a manipulation roll. But it's that we can we can leverage powerful organizations who could trade with you on a level that you would never believe. But there may be a little bit of negotiation required and discussion. But if that was something that you might be interested in, we may well be able to broker such a meeting, probably in this system. You wouldn't have to go far from here.
Basira looks intrigued. You're not being very I can understand this. I'm not accusing you of subterfuge, but you're not being very open about who your contacts might be.
Well, we're not, as Oshian said, we're not politicians. We're just simple traders. There is a lot of tension in the horizon at the moment. There's escalation of hostility between the Zalosians and the Zenithians. Just feels like we don't really want to necessarily get caught up too heavily in such a conflict. We just need to be a little bit careful about how we get involved. There's no, as you say, no subterfuge intended. We just don't always know, who is, supporting who in the kind of current tensions.
And I think the fact that we can put you in touch with people who, and I'm looking at Basira when I'm saying this, who are powerful elements in the Third Horizon, who may well be able to help you with what you wish to gain and what you wish to develop in terms of your work here. Try to drop a subtle hint. Puts us possibly in a position to help you at the same time that you may be able to help us.
You get the impression that she knows you're talking to her rather than the other two. And she holds your gaze and says,
Sorry, I just see Tom.
Yes,
I just see Thomas's comment. We know everyone, from the Nazis to the fanatics. It's great. Sorry, Matt. Carry on.
She says, we came here 10 years ago because this is where we need to be. We have escaped from the politics of the wider horizon. At least I speak for myself, and I think for you, my husband. And Ilham or Asiba turns and nods graciously. And then she turns to Toran Matouche, and I'm just making sure that he's of the same mind. Give me a moment. Yes, indeed, he says. This is where we want to be. This is where everything we need will one day be available to us.
One day. So you're waiting for something, or are you building something, or because you have a fight
because Turan said this.
I guess I'll start saying it to Turan, but then I'll look at Basira again and say, because you've built a fine, flourishing community here already, if that was your intention.
We have not built, we are building, he says. And there is still much work to be done, isn't there, Ilham? And Ilham nods agreement again. And this time the two of them seem to be talking over Basira. I mean, Basira's sort of sitting back, letting them talk. There's much work to be done. This light that surrounds us, we are but an island in a blighted valley called the Valley of Death now, but this could become the Valley of Hope. They call us the Village of Hope in the capital.
They do. We heard that. Indeed. I guess there is a risk that any conflict that occurs, you may not be able to stay out of it. The conflict may come to your door,
every corner, yeah,
whether you want it or not. So
Just on the booze side,
you may not be able to entirely avoid that conflict, even if you wish, and maybe it may be that you could have an influence on avoiding the conflict or preventing the conflict from expanding and landing on your doorstep,
or ensuring yourself against the impact
by getting involved earlier. So by getting involved earlier, you may save
Toran
yourself more
seems to
trouble.
take the conversation away from Basira, where he says, "But you were saying yesterday how this conflict gives opportunities."
Well, indeed, it does. It does, but also carries risks.
Well, yes, indeed, but I don't think it's going to stretch to this little island here. We have conflict already here on this planet. There are those who believe that the cartel shouldn't be in charge, and of course the cartel very firmly believe that they should be. These things happen everywhere. They avoid this village. I think any wider conflict between great factions will not have time to notice this modest little village.
I wonder if the people on Oedicon thought that back in the Portal War days, and we all know what happened to them.
Are you threatening us with planetary destruction?
Not in the slightest. I'm just simply making the point that nobody can avoid a conflict regardless of how out of the way they may feel they are. And if we can help by trading and building your community faster, and by gaining new influence with factions or with parties that are powerful that might then protect you, we're only seeing intent is to do you good rather than to threaten you with anything. I can't threaten you with anything. I've got a ship with no guns and it's not even here. So how on earth can I threaten you with planetary
We're certainly not threatening, and of course we respect any decisions that you make. You must decide for yourselves how best to serve your community, and I will look pointedly at Basira as when I say that, see what her reaction is.
Very well. She's ready to respond now, and having sat back and let her lieutenant talk, really, Toran, she leans forward and says, "I am intrigued that you should bring up the Portal Wars at this time. Are you a historian?"
I'm not a professional historian. I have a healthy interest in the history of the Third Horizon, as does every sensible, intelligent member of the Horizon. I only brought up Oedicon to make the point that the innocent people who were living there had no say in the destruction of their planet when the conflict came to their door, simply to answer Toran's point that you feel that you are safe from any conflict here without taking any interest in that conflict. And I beg to differ, that everybody is at risk.
Well, indeed, but is not the sacrifice of the population worth it? For I have heard that the destruction of the planetary system of Oedicon also was the destruction of the gateway to the first horizon. It brought in 1,000 years of peace here and ended the Portal Wars.
I wasn't intending on opening up a treatise on the history of the Portal Wars. I was simply using it as an example to say that the innocents in Oedicon had no say over their fate. at that point. And that's all. That's the only point I was making. If somebody decided that to restore peace and goodwill across the horizon, that this planet had to be destroyed, and everybody else thought that was a great idea, would you happily sit by and let them make that decision out of your hands? I think that seems.
But peace and unification across the whole horizon. We talk now, even now, with no portal wars, with no outside influence, that things are falling apart. The center cannot hold. And you are offering, well, you talk hypothetically. I know you're not offering peace yourself, but you're saying, would I sacrifice myself for greater peace? Willingly.
Would you sacrifice all your community equally willingly, or would they have to make that decision for themselves?
They speak for themselves, but I think they would.
But it's for them to answer that question.
Peace across the horizon. Indeed, it is. But they currently speak through me, for I am the head of the council. Would it not be a glorious thing to usher in a new vision of peace and unification across the third horizon?
Of course it would.
If there were dancer.
If there were people, praise be indeed, if there were people still alive to enjoy that peace and unity after the conflict.
Oh, of course, yes. The peace of death is not the peace that everybody seeks.
No, precisely.
And I guess what is the price that is worth paying for that peace to be brought about?
1,000 years ago, they said it was the population of Oticon. I think we may have started fruitful for negotiations here. Maybe you should, if you have some form of communication with your secret benefactors, you may converse with them and say, we are willing to negotiate a price for our salt, for our silk, and for our rice wine. Particularly mention the rice wine, for currently the consortium has no interest in that. Your benefactors may have the monopoly on the wine, and maybe it will have a reputation much like our salt does now. And then, in the spirit of peace, we could trade with you and with the consortium, and nobody loses.
We weren't suggesting that you should cut ties with your current trade partners, unless, of course, you feel once we've completed negotiations that the deal you could do through us would be more beneficial. It's a brand new one though, Bruce.
It's not brand new at all. It's old and battered.
Don't start making us out to be Delboy and Rodney.
Which is which, I wonder. And who's grandpa?
Your grandpa, Matthew. Dave's definitely.
I am Trigger. I am everybody else. I'm not the main two. That is the role of the GM, to be all the non-player characters.
Oh, Grandpa's an NPC.
Oh, is he really an NPC? I mean, obviously, I'll take on the role if his player isn't here, but he's one of the core three, isn't he? Anyway, moving on.
Okay, so the next time Bruce gets on the show, he's playing Grandpa or Uncle Albert, and he's got to say during the war all the time.
You heard it here first, Bruce. But coming back to this,
and that serves you right, Bruce, for that comment as well. Yeah, I feel like we've kind of got off negotiations for silk somewhat, and I don't feel like we're getting to agree to come to a meeting away from the village.
No, you've totally failed. Unless you want to try one last push to get to a village, to come for a meeting with you two, or with a third party away from the village.
I think we would escort her to meet the third party. It'd probably have to be in orbit, I suspect.
I think we just want to get a meeting with Basira on our own.
Maybe
that's the first next step, and we can potentially be a bit more open if we think that the other.
This is an interesting conversation to be having around the breakfast table with Basira and two other people.
Yeah, would you two just like bugger off so you can talk about the
So anyway, let us assume that this is a conversation you had beforehand.
Yeah.
What is the strategy you're going to do to get Basira on her own? What are you going to say to her? And let's see if we can end this scene with you getting at least that out of her.
Would it be possible to have a guided tour of the facilities, Basira, possibly by where we could continue conversations and see more of your operation?
The distillery, she said. She responds. Is that what you mean?
Well, of course, that as well as your silk making operations and.
Well, I think the best person to give you we
would be honoured if you would be able to find the time to show us, at least show us the distillery, because clearly your rice wine is of great importance to you, but for some reason the consortium are not biting. Perhaps if you can show us around, then we could definitely take that back to our contacts.
Okay, I'm going to get you to make a manipulation roll here, Dave.
So Tony was saying some of that. Come on.
Tony can give you a dice of help.
Come on, Tony. You've got to stop me talking when you should be talking, Tony.
Well, that's easier said than done.
Didn't really try, though. Just say, oh, shut up, Dave. Right, I got 4 dice. Okay, I've got 1 success, but I am going to push this. Okay, I now have 2 successes.
Right, well, for 2 successes, she says, normally I would say that Toran here is the best person to give you such a tour. But I think if you think you can sell our rice wine, I should take you to meet Farouk Norak, for it is he who runs the distillery here. Maybe later this afternoon?
That would be ideal.
That would be marvellous. Thank you.
I will have to exchange messages with him.
Is Farouk Norak, is he involved in the production of the rice wine?
Yes. And the consumption says I think Toran and Ilam sneers in agreement.
Sorry, what was that? Toran's going to come as well?
No, Toran said he's not only responsible for the production, but also the consumption.
Well, quality, good attention to quality control, that's important.
Yeah.
Well, quantity control as well, obviously.
We have something that is meant to be sung to the tune of Karma Chameleon here.
Go on then, Matt.
No, I'm not going to sing it. I'll let our audience imagine it. We'll make Bruce sing it next time he's in, shall we? In retaliation for all his heckling.
Anyway, thank you, Will.
So
shall we return here then at an appointed hour?
You're staying, according to my husband, on the other side of the gorge, which is where the distillery is.
Correct. With
maybe we should meet you there at the 4th watch.
And presumably we know when the fourth watch is.
Of course we do. I'm going to invent a Coriolis clock
Time. Yeah,
to
okay.
help us all do this because
Excellent. Well, we are honoured that you allowed us to share your breakfast, and honoured that you'll show us around your facilities, and we'll see you at the fourth watch. And then make our
excuse me.
Make our
Right.
departure.
Right. Where are you heading after making your departure from the ship?
I guess we'll just head back to. Is there anything else particularly you want to do, or do you want to go and find? Do you want to go and find the shaman?
The shaman. I take it we've got a few hours before.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Let's take a little tour of the thing and see if we can find the shaman.
Okay. Well, how are you going to ask around and see where she's hanging out, or you just going to wander around and see is there somebody
I think
shamaning?
we'll ask around. That's probably fairly reasonable. So we've heard that Ila Ubar is the shaman in the village, and Oshian here is
Very devout follower of the
Just-
Lady
yeah.
of Tears, and would wish to seek the shaman's guidance on matters of spirituality.
Well, the first thing you encounter, being prepared to answer that, is outside the courtroom. There is a wailing woman on her knees, ululating ululating because she is in mourning.
Is she young?
No, she's middle-aged.
It's not Ilan then.
Let's just walk out here. The first person we'll see, that'll be the shaman. It's a role-playing game. Of course, the person we're going to be meeting is going to be presented
It's
to
just
us.
there.
What's the name of the guy who
The prisoner.
was banished?
it was Arib Subada.
So you hear that name in her, among her ululations. You hear her sobbing Arib's name, and how he has been taken from her before his time.
The banishment has been enacted then, obviously, the punishment.
Yes.
What's the reaction of people around her?
Everybody's kind of ignoring her. This is by the courtroom, so one of the guards who was interrupted you last time says, "Oh, just ignore her. She's she says she didn't get an opportunity to say goodbye to her husband last night, but she's trying to petition the court here. But the decision was made. He's gone from the village now, never to return."
Well, if he's as good as he says he is, all she needs to do is pop on a boat and go down to the town because he'll be there in 3 days.
You're
You
going to
say
say
that to whom?
Yeah, not in those terms, no.
Right, do you want
Doesn't-
to use some bedside manner? Roll
Doesn't-
manipulation, Dave.
No, I'm not talking to the woman. I don't think there's
Oh, right.
anything to be gained. No, I'm just gonna
Mutter
look as
that
if
he's gonna.
look as if my soul has been torn from me by the fate of this poor man because I wasn't able to console him last night.
That's what you're going to look like. Roll manipulation, Dave.
Show us how that looks.
That is how I go because I got no successes
No successes.
on my 3 dice.
He laughs with you, thinking that you are
Taking the piss.
you're taking a piss a little bit. and then corrects himself because, of course, he's a guard and therefore an officer of the court. And he says, no, she was expecting to be able to say goodbye to him this morning, but he was sent out of the village last night. Anyway, she's gonna, how long can she be here for? At some point, she's gonna get hungry or need to relieve herself. Just let her have a time of warning.
Yep. Okay, I think so.
Yeah, we'll leave it to it.
Yeah. Maybe if she was to go and speak with, have we found out where the shaman is?
No, you haven't.
I say maybe if I were to take her to the shaman might be able to calm her spirit. Where I've heard you have a shaman here. Where can I find him or her?
You mean Iala Uba?
I think so. Yes, I think that was the name that I heard mentioned. Yes.
She's out blessing the new farmland, and he points. Points. Where's the new farmland going to be? Give me a moment, and I will share a screen.
Just around the back of Willie Shahida's house, I think, isn't it?
Where's it gone? Where's the bloody screen gone?
Are you enjoying StreamYard, Matt?
Yeah. Now, see, when I make it full screen, it disappears off the screen finder. So I need to make it not full screen, then share it,
then make
it full screen. There we go. Just take that away. And so then I got to decide where's the new farmland. So I reckon she is going. This is probably all quite central stuff. She may be over there. This looks like a relatively new bit.
Okay. Like I say, well,
on the way back to the house. We're going to walk around.
I shall hurry in that direction and see if the shaman will return and minister to this poor woman's spiritual health and welfare.
Well, don't you think the farmland is more important than one individual? I mean,
it's a matter for the shaman, surely, but I can at least mention it to her.
She's only young, he said.
Is that a bad thing?
I'm just telling you, you've not met her. You're an out-of-towner. It said she's got great wisdom, but if so, she has wisdom beyond 2 years.
Thank you. Let's go, shall we, Yaqub?
Yes.
Okay.
On the
So
way.
you head up in that direction, do you?
Yes. We discuss our approach when we get there.
Well, why don't you discuss your approach while you're getting there? And I will describe.
That's exactly what you said. So.
Oh, right, okay. I thought you said when we get there.
No.
When you're standing in front of her, we'll go, right,
Yeah,
how do we want to con this young woman into coming with us to the spaceship? It's probably not the way to do it. But carry on. Just have a discussion.
So, hello, young girl. Do you want to come to our spaceship with us?
No.
Because she's one of the ones that was identified in the message as potentially amenable to...
Oops, sorry. How did I do that?
Oh, the sunken temple. Okay.
Just ignore it.
Is there a sunken temple here anywhere? That we ought to go and look at. Right, where on this map could a sunken temple be?
Just ignore it. Right, so you're heading over here.
But at what point are we going to say to someone, yeah, we're employed by the Astaban. The enemy wants to do a deal with the Nazareem sacrifice. We've heard that's you. Are you up for it? Or how are we going to? Because we can kind of dance around it, but then eventually, then no one's really going to understand what we're talking about. And will we ever actually get to the point?
Well, I was So there is a thing here that even if they say yes, we then have to go and slaughter all their friends.
Yeah, we don't necessarily mention that in the first conversation.
No, true.
All right, we're just going to murder everybody else then.
And
Wait
two
for
of
us
us
on the boat.
Yeah, well, we can ask them who else do you think in your group would be amenable to us, and which ones would we have to brutally murder instead?
Yeah. I was thinking that we would kind of open up to Bazira when we had the chance. But whether you want to do that with this girl or not first. At least, I mean, as we approach this, is she kind of on her own? Or are there lots of people here?
There are a number of farm workers here,
Right.
and there's kind of ritual going on. She's not blessing them out on her own. Everybody's got to see them being blessed, otherwise nobody will know they've been blessed. So,
So we can't brutally murder her if she takes it the wrong way. That is what I was thinking.
no. Well,
not without.
Is that
We
your
can,
plan?
yes,
but
but
without being
with
seen.
probably some fallout.
Yeah.
And when I say fallout, I don't mean Fallout 76, the excellent computer game. I mean consequences.
As in fallout of a flying aircraft or something.
No.
Yeah.
That's something that you do to people, not Nazareem sacrifice.
It was very low to the ground, all right?
They're evil, but they're not that evil.
It was very low. I didn't kill anybody.
No.
Nicholas,
you didn't.
Nicholas died, didn't he?
He was already quite
not
badly injured,
necessarily.
though,
I think
wasn't he?
he was dying, but he wasn't dying anymore from being tipped out of an aeroplane.
Out of a spaceship, yeah. Okay.
So
Right.
if she's surrounded by a farm, we're probably not going to be able to have that conversation then, are we?
Seems unlikely, yeah.
Bruce has some useful advice for you that you might want to consider.
I know, I saw it and ignored it, so. I haven't gone full auto in fucking weeks, guys. I haven't even fired a shot in weeks. So come on. Nobody says, oh, go lie to them again. It's just full auto.
Right. Okay. Well, that's been an entertaining little conversation on full auto. That's bringing us to 9:57. So I think the two of you might spend a bit of time over the next 2 weeks discussing how you're going to approach this subject with that. And we shall have the meeting the next time we meet, which won't be next Monday because, Tony, you are going on holiday.
Yes.
And you know what? It won't be the Monday after that because I will be on holiday at that time as well. So there'll be a short break.
3 weeks.
If you want to know when this is going to continue, then bloody subscribe and press the bell. And then you will know when things are happening.
I wonder why we've got so few subscribers and presses on the bell.
We're doing quite well. We're doing quite well for subscribers. I have no idea whether we know how many people have notifications or not. But if you're a subscriber and you haven't asked for notifications, press the bell and then you will be told about the wonderful things that's happening. I do know somebody who gets notifications because Mohammed, frankly, knows when we put a new video up before I know when we've got a new video up. So I know he's got the notifications, and the rest of you will be similarly blessed with prescience if only you subscribe and press the bell. And you could like the video as well. Apparently it works with the algorithms. But meanwhile, the rest of us shall be away for a couple of weeks. If you're coming to UK Games Expo, come and meet me and Dave then.
Yep. Yeah, Free League booth. We'll be there. We'll be there Thursday evening for the pre-show thing, and then we'll be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, and we might try and see if somebody else wants to use this slot for a short one-off adventure or something. So we don't know what's happening over the next couple of weeks, but if you keep subscribed and keep your notifications pressed, then you will know what's happening before I do. And thank you very much, Mohammed.
I'm seeing, frankly, most days it takes you like 20 minutes to work out what your name is, Matt. Then that's not really saying very much. But, yes.
Thomas suggests that I'm assuming, Thomas, that doesn't mean at UK Games Expo.
Only if I get that Nerf gun in time.
Right, we're saying goodbye now. Say goodbye, boys.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
See you very soon.